Hi, I'm Ella Foltz. I'm the owner of Gathering Tree Early Learning. We're a small early learning program on 5 acres in eastern Vancouver. I've been in the field of early learning for over 25 years now. Honestly, I don't know why anybody would want to do anything else.
Hi, my name is Misty. I've been an ECAP teacher for about 2 years. I became an early childhood educator because I was a child who used early childhood education services, and I wanted to provide that for students that I work with.
Hi, I'm Robert Reyna, the Family and Health Services Manager here at ESD 112. You know, my last 25 years being a home visitor, being a family support specialist, many times you don't see staff being reflected of the families that we serve. And I feel so lucky that in all of my programs, I've been able to speak Spanish to my families for kids and parents to see someone who looks like them in the classroom. It's beautiful.
Being bilingual in Spanish, I know that parents always feel comfortable to know that there's someone who can speak to them and understand them. I met a student who, the first day that I said a sentence to him in Spanish, his eyes lit up and he said, "You know how to speak the language that my mom knows how to speak?" And I've been able to motivate him to use Spanish and use that language that he has at home in his everyday school life.
What makes our program special and what I love about it is that we're nature-based and play-based. So if they're playing with dinosaurs in the sandbox, then we will add to that. Maybe they build the habitat for the dinosaurs, and we can move our next whole week curriculum based on that.
We have to be in tune to what is being presented to us. When I was a home visitor, every time I knew, they like sports, they like art, I take all that and I grow with that.
It's very important for our students to have child-led experiences in the classroom. It develops their confidence and their motivation to seek out their own needs. Really, when I'm planning for my class of 18, I'm planning individually for each one of those 18 students.
Our belief about children is that rather than being a block of clay that we need to mold, that they're already full, competent human beings. We just need to give them the opportunities for them to reflect on what they want to do. The thing I love the most about being in a family child care is the mixed age approach. We have babies as young as 3 months, and we have kids to 5 years old. And by having them in a multi-age group, the social and emotional learning that they have is boosted because they have the opportunity to not only learn and practice social emotional skills, but also teach them to the younger kids. We're able to move more like a family than like a classroom or a educational setting, a more formal setting.
So I work in an early learning center. We have multiple classrooms in the building, and we're able to really collaborate with other teachers around us and utilize and share all of our tools. We're given rooms and areas where we can really have that intentional planning time away from our classroom. I also think having all the resources, utilizing family support specialists and directors and ECE specialists, really make sure that we're providing that quality care for each child in our programs.
My current role as Family and Health Services Manager, I'm able to really support staff and be able to coach and mentor on the various barriers that our families are facing today. I met with a staff yesterday who wants to continue her education. I'm like, I'm gonna look into that because I know that we have the resources to be able to provide you to finishing your AA and your BA so you can become a home visitor. My degree wasn't in education, it was in another field. I did a home visiting certificate program. It was like going back to college all over again, and they paid for it. I felt really excited that I was given this opportunity to learn a different field and then be in a job in it where I was actually doing it in my community.
You have to really be passionate for the education of children. For a teacher just starting in the field, The first thing that they will do is probably take the 30-hour basic training. Those 30 hours give you a very foundational experience of what the beginning of early learning is. From there, there's many different ways that a teacher can gather their education. I've had the opportunity to go through my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and a coaching certificate in the field of early learning with support all along the way.
I have been obtaining my Associates of Science in Early Childhood Education, and I feel like getting this education has helped me understand my students and understand what is required of me in this field a lot more. I lesson plan, I observe, I assess my students on their levels, and I keep up with their data and how they're improving. I meet with parents to come up with goals and strengths. And so I do everything I can to support my students and their success in their further education.
Skills that teachers coming into the field would need would be the ability to observe, taking the time to see what the child sees, being able to document that, saying, tell me about your picture. What do you see here? You're in college and you learn about approaches to support children with social emotional learning. Then you go into a classroom and you start to see the breakdown of social emotional opportunities. Being able to take those skills that you learn and then to bring it into the classroom and actually implement it is a challenge. But with practice, it becomes second nature.
I advise people, if you're trying to get into the early education field, be ready to go outside the box and have fun and encourage your students to be silly with you and even laugh at yourself. Sometimes I'm doing a whole theatrical performance throughout my classroom. Some days you're gonna go home with paint on you, random clips in your hair, maybe some leaves and flowers, but it makes me feel like I know my students wanna be close to me. So that's always a great feeling.
I love coming to work. It makes me very happy. Don't let anything get in your way by feeling that because you speak a different language or you identify as someone different that you don't belong in the early learning world, because you do. We're part of the community and our kids are part of the community, and when kids see more diverse people, they really know that there is room for them in the world where they can be whoever they want. And I want that for anyone who's interested in early learning, because if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'll have conversations with my students where I tell them how I was a 4-year-old pretending to be a teacher, and now I'm full circle in the field where I'm actually being a teacher in the classroom. And so I have a couple students who'll say, well, you're a teacher and I want to be a teacher so that I can be a teacher someday then too. And I tell them, yeah, of course you can. As long as you focus on those goals and you always work toward them, you can accomplish whatever you want.
The best part of this is to build that relationship with those kids. When they come in and they say, Miss Ella, I am their Ella. I belong to them. At the end of the day, they can't leave. They might get to the gate before they're ready to go, and then they have to turn around and come running back across because they didn't give me a hug goodbye. To have that every morning and every day when they leave, you won't find a job where you get more love.